But oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
Oh, yeah, beauty! What a hit, Jota! What a hit!
And breathe. Bloody hell.
Oh,
What was that I just watched?
I don't know, mate. I really don't know.
The only thing missing was, the only thing missing was Benny Hill music.
I don't know where to start, mate. I really don't.
God. That was mad.
See.
That was actually mad. Honestly. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
What a day of ball.
What a day.
Where do we start?
Thing is, when the dust settles, it's as you were. It's just another game ticked off. The points stay the same. We just edge closer to the finish line.
The thing is,
what a day.
It was a kick in the nuts, to be honest, the results earlier in the day. Liverpool's chances of top four are absolutely gone. Absolutely gone. Newcastle and United just keep picking up points. And going into this game, it was like, that's it now. We've got to start contemplating Europa League ball. And it really is as simple as that. But that game, 3-0 up after 15 minutes and absolutely cruising. It looked like Spurs were going to be on the end of another thumping, just like last Sunday against Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then it all went wrong big time. Spurs just looked dejected. They looked lifeless. Positionally, they were all over the place. Looking at each other, who's putting a tackle in, who's going to be the one to spark us into life. And there was no one, not even Kane, Son, their big players. Kulusevski has gone right off the boil. And I just had feet up. If I had a cigar, I'd have lit it. And then, as has been our season, we absolutely fell apart. The nerves were playing a part. We looked absolutely shocking at the back. I know you were firing stuff in the group chat, half of it to wind me up, I'm sure, but half of it was absolutely you speaking the truth. We were absolutely dreadful at the back. Van Dijk, let's start at Van Dijk. He's not, I'm not even going to say he's not the same player. He's not the same man. I want to know what alien has taken over Virgil van Dijk's body and is masquerading as the European Premier League winning Netherlands captain, because this isn't him.
Nah, he don't. He's. I'm not even going to say way off it. I don't think he's ever going to get. Excuse me. I don't think he's going to get back to the levels that he set. He's just not now. Like, he's not. He really isn't. I mean, what is he now? 30?
32, I think he is.
There you go, mate. Like, he's never going to get back to the levels. He just really isn't. Like you said, he's not going to improve from now. Like you said, he is on the decline without a shadow of a doubt. And I mean, we'll get into it. I mean, we'll speak about Van Dijk, but individually he was poor. Like you said, I think before, attackers didn't used to fancy themselves against Van Dijk at all. They would just ignore the challenge and stay away from him. But people think that they can take him on. And I know he slipped over a little bit, but it wasn't an amazing piece of skill that Perisic had to do for the first goal. And he just looks short of confidence as well. He just doesn't have that same aura about him. So I think you've hit the nail on the head. He just doesn't look the same player at all. And it's a concern because, like you said, Konate, he was decent today. But at the same time, you just were so vulnerable as a team defensively. I mean, we'll get into it. And I just think it's partly to do with this experiment with Trent. It seems like it's an experiment. Hopefully,
did you see when it started going wrong though? Trent could not get back to right back fast enough. Now I wonder if that was him, his own instinct, or Klopp being like, get back to right back. But he kept running back into a back four, and you could see the panic was setting in, and it was almost like you say, an experiment. Starting to think, is the experiment going wrong? Then would find a foothold in the game again, and he start veering into the center again. I honestly don't know where this experiment is going to take us.
It's not going to take you very far, I'll tell you that for free. Because like I said, the teams you've done it against can't really defend very well. Like if you come up against a team that's very well drilled and very well organized and just pick you off on the counter, you're going to struggle. I mean, today, I think Liverpool's biggest problem is, yes, you've got like this experiment that you're trying with Trent, but I think the worst thing is that you're playing such a high line with no press. It just doesn't make sense. Like, if you're playing as high a line as you have, you can't not press the ball. And then the second thing is, Trent's out of position, so any ball over the top, he's not going to recover. Like, it's killing him, really, in a sense. Like, he's never going to get back in. Any balls lofted into that channel, I mean, you're expecting Konate in a straight race, but against good players like Son and stuff like that today, that you'll give teamers opportunities. And I've predicted 3-1 to Liverpool, which it was looking like that at some stage. And then obviously Spurs just filled their boots and took an opportunity with a long ball over the top. The goals were simple, like the Arsenal goals, really, at Anfield. Against good teams, you're just going to get picked off doing that. So I think it's, as good as it is going forward, I think it is alarming defensively, massively alarming.
Well, the worry is that obviously Konate's doing double the work. You see him panicking when the ball goes into that channel. Trent looks like almost stupid. Can I say that? It almost looks stupid when he gets caught out and a ball's played down there, like especially for the first goal. But Van Dijk didn't cover himself in any glory. That was a pitiful, I don't even know what it was. It looked like a slip, but Perisic just sent him to the shops for a paper. He was gone. Lovely finish from Kane. But let's start from the start. Obviously, I've got the screen share up now. Curtis Jones, first goal, and I don't know how long. And he's
Good
settling
finish.
he's settling back into the side. I think that's his 5th game in a row he started. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to say Curtis Jones can save us 50 million in the transfer market.
I know, it's beautiful,
in July.
mate. As a United fan, I'm loving it, mate. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it as a United fan, mate. They're just turning up at the right time. Save the dip into the market. It's beautiful, mate. Curtis Jones, keep these performances going, mate. He's gonna Jones Basetic. I can see it already next season. It's gonna be like two new signings, brother.
Jones, Basetic, and Mason Mount. Oh God, don't. But yeah, I mean, Salah laying it off lovely for Alexander-Arnold for that first goal. Pinpoint
really goal.
Cross. It was a great finish. And then Luis Diaz with the cutback from Gakpo. I thought Gakpo was absolutely outstanding, certainly in the first half anyway. But what happened in the second half? I don't know. I don't think anyone really covered themselves in glory, apart from Diogo. He wears a number 20.
I think the game became a little bit too easy. Like, that's how it became. It was similar to us against Spurs in that first half. You think 3-0 game over, wrapped up. But this Spurs side have just got players that they can hurt you, even if they're not playing well. In Kane and Son, they've got 2 players that can just punish you.
Oh, definitely.
And Spurs had other chances as well.
Yeah. But they had no belief. It's almost like they had this defeatist attitude going into the game. And honestly, I was thinking, I don't want Kane and Son to wake up. I want them to sleepwalk all through this game. And then when they did wake up, it was like it was a different team. And I'm thinking, not today, not at Anfield. Please, God.
They can't defend those Spurs. They make so many mistakes. Like, the goals, as good as the goals were for Liverpool, the individual errors that they make, obviously the penalty, Romero, come on. I mean, it's as rash as it comes. Do you know what I mean? It's just like for an international defender who's just gone to the World Cup and won it, like, you'd think that he'd have a little bit more experience than that. He dives in on the penalty. And then the first goal as well, like, it's just acres of space for Curtis Jones. Like, Tottenham are just so square with how they defend. They're all over the place. They've got issues with the goalkeeper changing and stuff like that. And they just need the end of the season, Spurs. Like, I feel sorry for Kane and Son because they're just like big fish in a small pond. It just looks so embarrassing for them.
I think for the penalty, though, I think Spurs' heads were gone by then. You know, when you start throwing yourself around, throwing into challenges, just thinking the game's already gone, which was mad after 15 minutes, especially the way the game ended. But Luis Diaz made a lovely run inside the box for the first, which allowed Curtis Jones to ghost in at the back post. So I'm not sure if that was strictly Romero's fault, but like you say, the defense, it was the gaps in the defense that normally when you've got a 5-man defense, you don't tend to see gaps like that, but we were just cutting through them with ease. But my heart was in my mouth when Salah stepped up to take this penalty. I got
Was
to
it?
admit, I was thinking, let someone else take it. I know it was a penalty to put us 3-0 up, and you'd like to think it was game over by then, but I
Yeah.
still didn't want him to take it. The last two, when he didn't even hit the target, I was thinking, please, God, just put this in.
I thought he was
happy
going to go
did.
down the middle as well. I did think
Yeah,
he
do you
was
know
going
what?
to go down the middle.
I thought he'll take a safe penalty here. So if I was the keeper, I'd have stood safely in the centre and thought,
and
let me
caught
see
it.
if I can react and save it with a reflex. So I
Yeah.
was glad Forster jumped out of the way, but Forster hasn't had much footy, has he? Like you say, he's not Spurs' number one keeper. So
No.
Hugo Lloris might have been a bit smarter. I don't know. I mean, Hugo Lloris is not the best keeper anyway. But then it just took over. Kane's goal just before halftime, that 10 minutes before halftime, Spurs were just getting so much into the game that Liverpool looked panicky even at 3-0 up.
Yeah.
You're thinking, where's the composure? We used to go 1-0 up, and the likes of Van Dijk, Allison, they'd just be so assured at the back that we would comfortably sit on a 1-0, make the game a bit boring. But now at 3-0, we were still panicking, still getting tore apart. Spurs could have had 3 goals before halftime. Let's be honest. So in the second half, we just wanted to kill the game off. And listen, in the second half, we mentioned it on this morning's stream, and I don't want to go in on him because I'm a massive fan, but Darwin Núñez keeps coming on and almost frightening the life out of us. Like it's hard to put into words. I'm not saying he's not a Liverpool player, but his confidence must be shot. It's like he doesn't know where to run, when to run. I think he's struggling with playing off the left when he might be saying to Klopp in his own native language because he can't speak English, I'm a central striker.
Yeah.
But bringing him on for Gakpo, I was just thinking Gakpo's having a good game. We need Gakpo's composure in the centre in that false 9 to have a foothold in the game. But, what do I know? He brought Núñez on the left. He put Jota through the centre and it ultimately won us the game in the end. But
yeah. I do think Núñez has got an issue, like longer term, getting into this team. To be honest, I just think, like you said, what Gakpo's bringing you, and obviously someone's just said big up Diaz in the comments as well. I thought Diaz was excellent, and
yeah,
it gives you that direct balance on the left that you're sort of going to need. That you've missed that. Obviously, what Salah gives you on one side, you've always had a winger on the other side that. In Mane that did that. I think Diaz is the closest thing to that. So I think those 2 positions are pretty fixed. Gakpo as well. I mean, he is looking really good in a Liverpool shirt and the way he links the play up. And Núñez just can't offer that at the minute. So he's going to just have to bide his time. If I'm honest with you, I can't see him getting shifted on in the summer. But like you said, Klopp does like to transition players sometimes. Let's see if it's that. But at the moment, there are other players taking his limelight at the minute, and he must be a little bit frustrated. He's come for a big fee. There's a lot of pressure on him. So we'll just have to see how that one pans out for him in the future.
Jota comes on, but does what Jota's been doing the last couple of games. Probably a little reminder to Klopp that I don't know why you rested me. He's tried to flex the team a bit, flex the squad. Luis Diaz didn't put a foot wrong. So if anything, it should have been Luis Diaz as well as Jota, maybe a 4-2-4 or something like that. But it's so, like you say, it's so experimental with Trent going into that double pivot with Fabinho that it was a choice of either or for him. And he went with Luis Diaz, which I'm glad because he'd done well. But towards the end, we absolutely lost all composure, all shape. We were panicking right up to the last minute until Jota scored that goal. But Spurs should have had a couple of penalties, I thought.
Yeah, the one on
The
Richarlison.
stone waller on Richarlison. My missus and my little girl were sat with me then, and I was like, "Oh my God!" They were like, "What's wrong?" I said, "That will be a penalty."
I can't believe they didn't. I don't know why it wasn't. I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but I don't.
The next minute we started making a substitute, and I thought, you don't normally make a substitute while you're waiting for VAR, do you? And I don't know whether they got the early call that VAR, the check was over, but my heart was in my mouth. I thought it's an absolute stone wall. It's a penalty.
Stone wall penalty. 100% a penalty. Yeah. 100%.
The next minute they took the throw in, and I was like, Jesus, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I thought it was inevitable, but I don't know.
to rub salt in the wounds, it was Nunes marginally playing Richarlison on to make it 3-3. And I'm thinking, how's your luck when you need a bit of confidence at the other end of the pitch? If he watches this in slow-mo, seeing it was him that was playing Richarlison on, and that was it. I thought 3-3. This is typical of Liverpool's season. We've absolutely thrown it away. We've panicked. We've worried. We've got no confidence, no belief. The Anfield crowd are getting tetchy. And then up steps the man, Doggy Jots. He's absolutely back to doing what he does best, scoring
Good
vital,
finish.
important goals. And I got to be honest, he didn't really do much in the game when he come on. He was a bit anonymous. But that's Doggy Jots all over. He can do nothing for a whole game but score a fantastic goal. And he does. He gets ridiculed online for it, as though it was another... I've seen a few things. It was a 5 out of 10 performance, but he masks it by scoring a goal. And I'm thinking, if you're a striker and you're scoring goals, I know there's a lot more to the game. I'll take that every single day of the week.
Yeah, I think it was an important win for Liverpool. Obviously, like you said, 3-0 up in the game. To throw it away and draw 3-3 would have been a big kick in the teeth, but it keeps the momentum going. Like you said, it's not polished. I think there's lots of improvement for Liverpool to make. But like you said, at this stage of the season, just like all the other clubs in and around the European places, the result's the most important thing. Like you said, you were pretty dominant in terms of possession. Look, the goal attempts are pretty even in the second half, especially.
The second half,
yeah. So, I mean, you can see that Liverpool and Spurs are teams that will both give the opposition chances because of the way that they defend and the way that they set up. So I do think I don't think it's necessarily massively sustainable the way Liverpool are playing at the moment, mainly because of the press, I would say, more than the inverted fullbacks, because Man City invert their fullbacks and they don't look like they're going to concede on every shot. Do you know what I mean? So there must be another reason as to why Liverpool looks so open and so vulnerable. And I think the reason for that is because Man City, for a start, have got unbelievable recovery pace, like with the likes of Walker. Do you know what I mean? You know he can get back into that position very quickly, whereas Trent's not blessed with that level of pace. That's the first thing. And I just think Man City they control the game in terms of they know when to drop. They don't just, like, for me, I think Liverpool should have dropped their defensive line by 10, 15 yards. I mean, I'm not Jurgen Klopp, I'm not a coach, but I think he's very stubborn. You've always played that high line and he's not affected the line. He's kept the line the same sort of height without the press. The difference is you've always had that press in midfield, the Wijnaldums, the Hendersons getting after people, stopping those balls being played over the top, and that's not happening now. And the opposition are getting a lot of joy. But it's a good 3 points.
Oh, massive. It's a massive 3 points, not in terms of trying to get top 4, because top 4 is absolutely gone. I'm not even going to try and kid myself anymore.
Yeah.
Even though I said, look, we've got 4 home games out of the next 5. We've won 2 of them. We've still got 2 home games. So I had one eye on it. But the way Newcastle and Man United just keep pressing ahead, top 4 is absolutely gone. But at the same time, we still have to finish the season strongly. And that's to keep the morale up outside the club as well as inside, send us into the transfer market in the summer thinking we don't need wholesale changes. We just need a good few additions, 3 or 4 clever additions, even if it is playing Europa League ball next year, which it looks like it is. Just jumping in the comments, there's 6 people watching. Jordan Percho, how you doing, mate? Thanks for tuning in.
Jordan.
Get in. Absolutely, Jordan.
Big win.
And Tom's in. He's a Arsenal fan. I always see him on True Gooners stream. Well done, Spurs. Spursy. But the thing is, my Liverpool group chat was on fire when it went 3-3, like with expletives. And then obviously Jota goes down the other end and they were all saying, this is a Spursy performance. They get right back in it. Do you know why we won it in the end? 4-3.
Go on.
Because of Richarlison doing that stupid chicken dance.
Oh,
at
man.
3-3. As soon as he done that, I thought, there's your meme. There's your meme. This is going to backfire on you.
The thing is, the goal came from a Spurs. Like, he tried to lay it off when he should have just cleared it. And Jota's just capitalized on a mistake. Like you said, it's so typical of Spurs and how they've been this season. And it just summed them up really. To come back from 3-0 down to 3-all and then concede at the last minute from a Spurs mistake is just so typical of their season. So yeah, it was a fitting way to end it.
It's beautiful. But the thing is, like I say, it's heartbreaking. This isn't for a place in the Champions League, because that would have been a typical. You remember when Alisson scored that header against West Brom? And it's like next minute, top four might be on. Is it on? We're going to get it. We've left ourselves an absolute mountain to climb. But where do Spurs go from here? I mean, that's us above them in the league now. Can I get the standings up? I mean, there's the league there. You can see the form table as well.
You're 2 points clear of Spurs, and you've got a game in hand. We've got 2 points clear. We're got 2 games in hand over Spurs. And
that looks beautiful on paper, don't it? We've won 4 in a row. But Travis, look at Arsenal. Is that the most heartbreaking graphic for Arsenal fans?
I know it is. I think for Spurs now, I mean, if you look at the sides below them, especially Brighton, 2 points behind, playing 3 games less, they'd really fancy themselves to finish between 6th and 5th. I mean, they've got a couple of games in hand over you as well. So I think the maximum they can finish on 7 games, they've got 7 games left, which is 21 points. So you're looking at 73 for them. That's if they win all their games. But I just don't fancy any side from Newcastle down to Brighton. I don't think any of them is going to win every single game from now to the end of the season. I really don't. I mean, Newcastle are on a great run. They've still got Arsenal to play and a few other sides. Obviously, Liverpool, they've still got Brentford, Fulham, still got Villa to play themselves. You know what I mean? Everyone's got teams within sort of the top 7 or 8. So you're going to see drop points everywhere from now to the end of the season. So like you said, it all evens itself out. We drop points in the week. We won today, and it's like the cushion's there again. So I think from now to the end of the season, I think Tottenham, I haven't looked at their fixtures, but I think they need to finish in the Europa League places. I really do. I think they can't really afford to be at a European competition in terms of attracting players, because they need a big summer.
True Guna is in the comments. Josh, I don't know if you're about. I'm going to send you the link if you want to jump in. We ain't spoke for a couple of weeks. But yeah, he just said, look at that table now. As I just said, that's an absolute nightmare for Arsenal. You look at them last 4 games, a loss and 3 draws. Obviously, them 3 draws started with the Anfield 2-2. And I did say you might struggle to win it if you don't win it at Anfield. Whereas if you do win at Anfield, you might have the confidence to go on and win it. And it's proved absolutely true so far. But yeah, I mean, that league table there, when you look at how many games are left now, Trav, there's only 5 games left. That's 15 points to play for.
So you can finish max 71. 71. Max 71. If you win it, if you win all your games, you know what I mean? We need 8 points to reach that, which is 2 wins and a couple of draws. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, I could see us winning the last 5 games purely because the next 2 are at home. You win your home games. And then if you think of the last 3 that we've got, the last one's Southampton. Away, I'm sure that is. We could win that. West Ham is one, I think. No, we've got West Ham at home. No, we haven't. We'll just play them away.
Yeah,
I can't remember who it is, but
I don't know who you got.
Even if we did, it's still not enough, because basically you and Newcastle have pretty much only got to win 3 out of the next 6.
We need 3 out of 6. What do Newcastle need? They need 2 wins. That takes them to 71.
Probably only 2, yeah, because they've got a good goal difference. They've got a watertight defence. But yeah, Spurs, they've just got to sort out this managerial position, haven't they?
I think so, massively, yeah.
But they're the same as us. They basically can't wait for the season to finish fast enough.
Yeah.
As the match. Salah on his penalty. I mean, he's still banging the goals in. I know we've compared Salah and Rashford in terms of their stats for this season. Ballon d'Or shouts for Marcus Rashford. And some people say that Salah's not having a very good
season.
season, and yet he's still right up there. Let's get the top goal scorers.
Rashford's not going to be Ballon d'Or. No chance.
I mean, look at Kane, even 25 goals after 32 games. Any other season, he's walking that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ivan Toney as well, 20 goals in 32, 33 games. And they're all beat by the robot Erling Haaland. We're never going to see these numbers again, are we?
Well, from Haaland, you will. He'll get the golden boot
yeah.
every year for the next million years if he stays that long. He can get it every year if he wants. It's down to him, isn't it? Really. I mean, he scored another again today, and City. It looks ominous, really. Like City can just score at will, but like you said, the Kane's an interesting one. I was watching him closely today. Obviously, we've been heavily linked with him, and everything he does is quality. Like. I know he's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He's pure quality. He is pure quality. I mean, the finish, even his goals, it's not an easy chance. Do you know what I mean? That volley, he just made it look so easy though. And that's the thing. If he did end up coming to United, and my preferred choice would definitely be Osimhen. Definitely not changing my stance on that. But he would score goals. I think he could go into most teams and score goals just because of the way he plays, and his finishing ability is second to none, to be fair. So it's going to be interesting. I can't see him staying at Spurs. I'm going to be honest. Sorry to all the Spurs fans, but why would you stay? You're just scoring 25 goals a season and not getting any reward for it. But it's just whether he can go to a club that's going to reward him with the trophies now, because I don't think United are guaranteed trophies or the big trophies next year. So we'll have to see what happens in the summer.
The question is more on the longevity of it, isn't it? As you say, he's such a great player, great finisher. His all-round game is like almost perfection. It's how long can he keep it up? Will he be this level for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? And that's the great unknown. And that's what makes you hesitant to hope that your team signs him. But certainly as a player right now, you'd take him. It's going to be all about the price, isn't it? Gary Neville thinks that Spurs are going to keep him and let him go for free in 12 months' time. Can you see that? What would be the point in that if you could get 70, 80 million from now?
I don't think there would be a point in it. Like you said, the next manager coming in will want to keep him because he's integral to everything that Spurs do. But from a business sense, like you said, get the money because he can go where he wants next year anyway. And I think that will probably work out better for some of the clubs. I mean, obviously, we're desperate for a centre forward, so it wouldn't necessarily benefit us. But they can basically tell whether he's going to be finished or not next season. But it's all dependent on Spurs and the season they have as well. So it's going to be an interesting summer. I don't know where he's going to end up, to be fair. He might stay, he might sign a new deal and be loyal, do the Gerrard style and stay. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Son is the same though, isn't he? He's 30 as well now. He's going to have basically no resale value. So Spurs, this manager that's going into Spurs, he's going to have a massive job on his hands to revitalize this club. Let's call it the club, not just the team, not just the squad, but everything. The Spurs fans were chanting about Daniel Levy all game. Well, I say all game until they started getting back into it. And the next minute was when the Spurs go marching in. But Daniel Levy he must have a squeaky bum. He must be sweating now. He's been absolutely lambasted for the last 3 managing appointments. Nuno Espirito, Mourinho, and Conte now. He's got to get this next appointment right, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's important. You can see there's a lot of stability, even in the performances. They don't know whether they're coming or going. Like you said, Pedro Porro is playing right back to sign Spence. There's a lot of players and there's a lot of mess at Spurs. And I just don't see why. I mean, unless you can't get the manager that you want, if you can get the manager that you want long-term in now, get them now. Like, while there's nothing to play for, you can assess the squad, see it. That's why I was bemused Chelsea didn't do the same as well and going for this interim and Lampard back and stuff. It doesn't make any sense. Tottenham, if the manager's out there, go and do it now. You've got 5 games left. You can work with them every day, start planning for next season. I think that would be really beneficial to them for them to do that.
I can't agree more. But I'm not here to tell Spurs how to improve. I'm here to talk about Liverpool. I'm really worried about one player. Do you know that? And it's not someone like Fabinho. Fabinho's almost not a footballer anymore. Have you ever noticed that he can't dribble the ball anymore? He almost falls over it or rolls his foot over it, and almost it's hard to watch. But I'm worried about Jordan Henderson. I think the cliff he's fell off has been a steep one. And I don't know if he looks a bit overweight, but it looks like he can't turn very sharply at all anymore. I don't know if he's a bit out of puff, a bit unfit. Maybe he's carrying an injury. But when I watch him, I'm worried that he might be absolutely washed up. He might be done.
Well, his game's always been based off that intensity in that press. Like he's never really been special in any other department. So when that goes, there's not really much left. I think that's what you're seeing. I'm not being hard. I'm trying not to be harsh, but he is one of those players, I believe, that was integral to your side for those reasons, setting the press, setting the tone, getting the energy levels up, inspiring. He's a great leader. I think he's well respected for what he does in the team. But like you said, now you're not seeing that press. He's getting older. He's playing less consistently as well. So you're asking him to sort of play a bit part role. And he's probably not match fit. You're right. Do you know what I mean? He's not playing all the time. So you're not going to be match fit. So when you're coming in, he's probably blowing after like 60 minutes or whatever. He's getting a little bit more tired. You're not seeing that press. So like you said, that's why it's important for Liverpool this summer to dip into the market and get a couple of midfielders for sure, as well as Curtis Jones has done. You don't want this false dawn again where you think, oh, players are doing well at the end of the season. There's no stakes. I mean, we're the same sort of, I'm hearing the same things about Victor Lindelof, which he did well today. He did do well today, and he looks better when Maguire's not playing next to him. But at the same time, you can't forget where you come from when you're in the trenches. You know what I mean? It's obvious Liverpool need midfielders and they need them desperately. So no matter what Curtis Jones is doing, no matter what these players are doing, stepping up, you need to go into the market, and you can't forget how things were during those dark times.
We mentioned Harvey Elliott on this morning's coffee time chat as well. I said no one even mentions him now. I don't know what happened. And then typical Jurgen Klopp, he throws in a start. And to be fair,
I'll show Scotty. Scotty.
You watch the stream and he's like, I wouldn't start him, would I not? There you go. Captain's armband straight on the right-hand side of midfield. But he done well. He done really well. He got hurt, didn't he? I was surprised he got hurt. I think it was for Henderson. Yeah. 63 minutes, Jota for Diaz and Henderson for Elliott. But I thought he'd done well. I thought there was obviously having Curtis Jones in there and Harvey Elliott, there was some legs in there with Fabinho holding the ankle with Trent. I thought I quite like the look of this. And as you know, I'm not Harvey Elliott's biggest fan, but I thought he'd done really well. And if anything, again, when Milner come on, Milner puts himself about. He's almost like Jurgen Klopp's comfort blanket when things are getting a little bit tetchy in there, or we're trying to close out a result and all around them are losing their heads. He puts on a James Milner to fly into a few challenges, and you can tell James Milner's a bit of a hard man on the pitch. You can just tell he takes no crap. But I started thinking it's Henderson that should be leaving in the summer, going to Brighton on a free or Leeds on a free, what Milner's been touted for. But this clear out in midfield, it's going to be vast. Another one that I was looking at today, you haven't heard of him for about 6 weeks now, is Oxlade-Chamberlain. He doesn't even get in the squad anymore. He's not injured. He's just not in the squad.
There's no point. They know he's leaving, so there's no point. Like you said, this is...
Yeah, but still, surely, like, we know Firmino's leaving. We know Keita's leaving. When Keita's fit, he's in the matchday squad. Milner's probably leaving. I don't think Oxlade-Chamberlain's even a footballer anymore. I could see him retiring if he leaves Liverpool. Yeah. Well, when he leaves Liverpool, he's definitely leaving. But yeah, when you think of the players, Henderson's best days are behind him. Milner is leaving. Keita's leaving. Oxlade-Chamberlain's leaving. It's leaving us with Curtis Jones. Thiago is taking a bit of stick on Twitter. I've read the last couple of days that he won't be able to play in this new 3-2-2-3 formation. And I'm thinking I can kind of see what you mean. Thiago's not the type of player to be stretching his legs and getting forward like Curtis Jones has been, which is probably why Curtis Jones is keeping him out of the team. But it always goes back to injuries with Thiago. He wasn't in the squad today. He's injured again. And that's just Thiago all over.
I want to make something clear though, like this 3-2-2-3, it's not a formation. Like Trent is an inverted fullback. Like we can't take away that responsibility that he had. That if he's gonna be a fullback inverted, he still has to defend. Do you know what I mean? I think people are thinking you're playing three at the back. You're not playing three at the back. Trent in possession is in the midfield and starting attacks and starting the build up. But out of possession, you saw how detrimental it was today. That isn't going to win you big trophies. I mean, we both know that. Do you know what I mean? So I think going forward, if you look at City, Stones is actually playing midfield. They're playing three at the back.
Yeah,
It's
did you watch
totally
it today?
different. Yeah, it's totally different how they're doing it. Arsenal are doing the same as what you're doing with Zinchenko, inverting. But I think if you are going to do this long term, you've got to sort out, firstly, Trent's just individual defensive abilities. Like you can't shy away from it. If he's going to be a right back, he's got to be able to do better 1v1. That he's got to learn that. He's still young enough to learn that as well. And it's whether Klopp wants to persist with him because he's so good on the ball, or he says, right, I'll get competition for him and a right back that might be able to do both, like can invert and defend a little bit better than him and challenge him for his place. That might be an option. Or he like just tries something totally different and says, right, well, we're not going to invert and I'll just get a right back that's really good at defending and I convert Trent into a midfielder, which people have spoke about for a very long time. So like I said, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how he does it long term, because like you said, Kanate, I don't think he fully looks comfortable out in that wide area. You saw what Van Dijk did in that wide area on one occasion with Perisic. So unless you've got really good 1v1 defenders, the likes of Ruben Diaz, like he's the best example I can give. Like coming up against Ruben Diaz, you're just getting thrown into the stand. And that's what Van Dijk used to do. Do you know what I mean? But I think if you haven't got defenders that can defend 1v1, it's a bigger rebuild than you probably envisaged.
Oh, yeah, you see, that's the problem when you're talking about this summer recruitment drive. Obviously, the focus is on the midfield, but every Twitter account I can see says we need to buy a centre back. And when I think about that, I think everyone's a fan of Kanate. Van Dijk is what Van Dijk is. I'm Joel Matip's biggest fan. His best days might be behind him. He's 32 soon. And then you got Joe Gomez, who's an England international. When I look at that, I'm thinking, who are they on about when they say we need another central defender? And I can only imagine it's Van Dijk. So this rebuild would be Kanate with a new centre-back, that Vardiol maybe, Robbo right, left, Trent on the right. And I've got to admit, I'm worried for Van Dijk. You've just not written him off, but you said he's 32 now. He's not going to get back to them dizzy heights. But what about like these defenders that can play on like Thiago Silva, like 37, 38? I'm looking at Van Dijk thinking, I hope that can be you. If you treat your body right and look after yourself, anything's possible. He's not one to get injured, apart from that massive injury because of Jordan Pickford. But at the same time, and I always maintain this, if we can fix the midfield, it'll make the defence look better, won't it? Because just like what's happening with Zinchenko now playing the inverted left-hand side is that Arsenal 99 times out of 100, the other team are worrying about them. And that's what we used to have when we were flying. Now we're not flying. Of course, it looks suspect at the back when Trent's inside. Van Dijk's floundering a bit. He looked like he was ice skating today. It was another... It's a bit like Groundhog Day, Trav. I feel like we keep coming on a stream saying that wasn't Van Dijk. He had a poor game. What was he thinking? I think you're right. It's not looking good.
Yeah, I think you got to ask yourself why you're not flying then. So if you're saying that when Arsenal and City play like this, it's because they're flying and the defense get better protection or whatever, you got to ask yourself sort of then why you're not flying. If it's just midfielders that you think are going to fix the issue when you get better midfield players, then there should be no panic from the fan base. You know what I mean? Van Dijk's not going to necessarily leave. He's definitely not going to be sold. You've still got Konate. Matip's future is probably a little bit up in the air, and Joe Gomez is, I think he's happy to be a squad player and rotational player. And if you're happy with those options as a fan and you think it's just a couple of midfielders that are going to provide the press so the defense have to do less work, then it's going to be fine. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's maybe the situation, because you were doing so poorly this season, has maybe been blown out of proportion a little bit in terms of the recruitment. Like, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that, we need to spend 200 million stuff. Like you said, smart recruitment, couple of midfielders, couple go out, a few other bodies, like, just to beef the squad up, and you could get back to the heights that you've set over the past few years. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting. Let's get to the end of the season, see where you finish, and then just go from there.
When we were 3-0 up, I text you saying we're almost back. Roll on next season. We're the only club that can challenge Pep. 45 minutes later, it was 3-3, and I was thinking, why? Why did I write that? Oh, thank God for Diogo Jota. That's all I'm going to say. Jordan's in the comments. Hey, Scott, we did it, bro. Yes, Jordan, we did do it. Thank God. I don't think it's going to mean anything towards the end of the season in top 4, but all we can do is keep doing our job, keep getting the W, the 3 points, keep the momentum going, the feel-good factor. Football Ferreira is in. Yes, Jose. Vamos. Viva Liverpool.
Nice.
Like people. Cheers, Jose. But again, Spurs hitting the woodwork. They were unlucky today, and them 2 penalties at the end, like we mentioned earlier, with VAR not picking up that one. Someone was on our side. Someone was looking down on us, because for me, that was a penalty every step of the way. But let's start talking about Man United, Villa. Did you watch it, Trav? Did you see any on your dodgy ball?
Yeah.
That was so stressful with Dalaval. You're not getting Dalaval. I was just saying there before you guys come on. I was on the couch with my wife and my daughter, and when the replay come of Kanate hauling Richarlison down in the box, I was like, "That's a penalty. This is going to be a penalty." We got away with it.
It should have been a penalty. It should have been a penalty. I don't understand why it wasn't a penalty. I don't understand VAR though, so I'm not going to try and understand it, mate, because it just every week it gets worse and it blows my mind. Like you said, not VAR necessarily. The people running it, I don't know what they're actually seeing. You can see that Kanate has just pulled Richarlison to the floor, pulled him to the floor. So if that's not a penalty, I don't know what is. So
why wouldn't it be a penalty? I mean,
I don't know.
Devil's advocate. Why? What angle would it be like?
No,
do you think maybe they're saying if it's not clear and obvious, so if the ref thinks it isn't a penalty, I'm not going to get involved? And that's the bit where VAR's subjective, isn't it? Because it's like VAR should be, it's either a penalty or it's not. But then there's always that grey area of I'm not re-reffing the game and it's not clear and obvious.
I think that was clear and
you're
obvious.
You're allowed to say I don't know.
I thought that was clear and obvious though. Like I don't get how much more obvious that needs to be. That was clear and obvious to me, without a doubt. Like, it was a penalty for me. But some of the, like you said, some of the VAR decisions, I just don't know. I can't explain it, mate. To be honest, I really can't explain
it. Jose says, do you guys agree that Tottenham deserve the draw today for the amount of changes they had and Liverpool sleep after 3-0 up? Absolutely. They did deserve, they might have even deserved to win it. They hit the woodwork 3 times. I think one of them was offside, so it wouldn't have counted, but still hit the woodwork 3 times. They could have had 2 penalties in the last 10 minutes. One of them definitely should have been given. And then they got it back to 3-3, and only a little bit of magic by Diogo Jota seen us over the line. But maybe if that was it, what's it called, their stadium? The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or not White Hart Lane. Maybe if it was at home, they might have won that. But I think the Anfield crowd got us over the line because we were absolutely panicking. We were shitting it. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Jurgen Klopp was on his hands and knees. We were absolutely shot, like scared to death of throwing away this 3-0 lead. And we've got away with one. So, Tottenham didn't deserve the draw. They might have even deserved the win, Jose. It really is as simple as that. Kanate will not get away with that next time, 50-50, but you cannot do that. Agree. He absolutely got away with one there. And I think even Kanate thought it was a penalty. When you've seen the replay, he's looking around, they're all looking at each other. Awful. but we got away with it.
Stick on pen.
Yeah. Travis, yeah, so 1-0. Anyone that watched this morning's stream, Travis tipped another Man United game to win 1-0. You should have put your money on it. Put your house on it next time. He's got so many right this season. It's almost scary. What did I say? It'll be a goal fest 3-2.
Yeah.
And you said 1-0 to Man United, and you were right yet again.
There you go. Yeah, I think today was an important game for United. Obviously, Newcastle having Southampton at home, so which you would think was a banker, really, which it was in the end. Obviously, they were 1-0 down at halftime. We had to go and do the business as well. And I think it was a game that we pretty much controlled at the majority of the first half. We had the better chances in the game. We created the better chances in the game. I think there was a composure to our play. Villa obviously were a threat all the time and sort of took us on toe to toe. Surprisingly, like they didn't drop as deep as I thought they would. They played a pretty high line themselves and tried to press and squeeze, which isn't a sort of a surprise in some ways because of
they're confident, aren't they?
Yeah, and how bad we are at playing out. But it helps when you've got Shaw and Lindelof playing. In some ways, they're sort of not better than Varane and Martinez, obviously, but in terms of playing out and how they are in possession, Shaw's very good on the ball, very comfortable on the ball. So I think he slots into that role quite well. Malacia was back on his game and Casemiro was well and truly back. So I think he was brilliant today. It was important. Like you said, the goal came at a time where it was 10 minutes before half time. I think Villa we're lucky not to be behind. We'd hit the crossbar at the time. Casemiro hit the bar and I thought obviously Rashford got in behind a couple of times and it felt like the goal was coming and it came at a good time. And it actually ironically came from a long goal kick from Martinez and we headed it back and the ball went over the top and we were through on goal. So it was probably the only time where Villa didn't try to play out from the back and it cost them. And Fernandes squeezed it in from a tight angle. So, but again, we had to defend. Second half, we were hanging on at times, but again, it was an important 3 points, gave us that cushion. Like I said, we're clear of Villa now. Spurs, obviously, Liverpool have got up to 5th today, and I expected Liverpool to win. But I think, like I said, I think from now to the end of the season, I think we need a couple more wins, 2 to 3 wins out of the fixtures we've got left, and I expect us to do that. And hopefully, we can get it done sooner rather than later, so we can start rotating, giving some players some more minutes before the cup final.
Did Villa have any chances at all?
Yeah, they did. They had one cleared off the line in the second half. Lindelof clearing off the line, which again was a little bit of a mess at the back. Calamitous, we tried to clear it. I think Shaw smacks it against someone. It deflects to Ramsey, Jacob Ramsey, and he hits it. It's blocked and it's going straight in the top corner. Lindelof heads it off the line. So yeah, we rode our luck at times, especially late towards the second half. Villa threw the kitchen sink at it and we had to stand strong, but we defended well, and Lindelof's got a lot of plaudits today, and rightly so. And he's one that I've sort of criticised heavily. And again, the jury's been out on him. He's not been able to hold down a starting berth in the team. But I think if we do manage to get Maguire off the decks and we prioritise like other positions rather than a starting centre half, I think Lindelof wouldn't actually be bad cover to keep. I've changed my stance on it a little bit. I don't think we're going to be able to get rid of everyone this summer, like 10 to 12 players that actually need to go. I think we're going to have to drip feed it a little bit more. Maybe 5 to 6 of those players will go. So if we are going to get rid of a centre back, you know who we need to get rid of first before anyone.
For 40 million, wasn't it? If Maguire's going for 40 million, Joel Matip is worth 80 million. I'm just looking at the stats now. It looks pretty comprehensive. A comprehensive victory for Man United. Villa only had one shot on goal, which that's what you want, isn't it? Restricting the opportunities to have shots on goal sounds like a good defensive performance from your man that you've done the short about, the Iceman, Lindelof.
It's typical of United, though. We don't kill games off, and we never do. Do you know what I mean? The Spurs game should have been killed off. Today should have been killed off. We should have been a couple of goals up by half time, really. And this team leaves you on edge by not being able to control games and finish games off. But when you ain't got a natural centre forward at the club, you can't finish games off anyway. So this isn't a surprise. I'm proud of how they're doing. I'm really delighted with the job Ten Hag's doing, and he's sticking to his guns. He could have quite easily put Harry Maguire back in today. Do you know what I mean? Club captain on the bench, back fit, could have folded under the pressure of playing him. But no, he said, to me, the writing's on the wall for Harry Maguire. If you've got a left back ahead of you and you're fit, do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to be looking elsewhere now. I mean, he's had so many, I've said this so many times in terms of it being a final straw, but we just don't need the guy. We're playing a left back at centre back. We've got one fit centre back and he can't get into the team. So if that doesn't spell the end for him, I don't know what will. But yeah, good performance. Like you said, limiting Villa, an informed Villa to one shot on goal. And a lot of people thought Villa could get something from today's game, and we're going to get something from today's game. But I think we've proved a lot of doubters wrong again by standing up strong and responding.
Jose says thoughts on Emiliano Martinez. Jose's his biggest fan. He says he's the best keeper in the league. Jose knows a lot of the Argentinian squad. He's a big fan of Julian Alvarez at Man City, as he's been on in the comments on our streams before. But did Martinez play well?
He did. I like Martinez.
And would you have him at United? I know you want De Gea out, so would you have Martinez at United?
Personally, I wouldn't. The reason I wouldn't have Martinez at United is because I think he brings a lot of controversy with him, and sometimes you need a bit of a wind-up merchant. But I think he can go too far. Look, he's won the World Cup. He was brilliant at Arsenal before he left Arsenal and went to
I can't believe they
Aston
sold
Villa.
him.
And everyone was like, "Yeah, why did they sell him?" He's a good keeper, but for me, we don't need another one of those controversial characters. Like, we've got enough of those merchants, or had enough of those wind-up merchants before. And I think he's just another one that brings a little bit of baggage to him. I just want some good characters, some good heads in the dressing room, just want to do their job, can handle the pressure of playing for United. And it's not that I don't think he could handle the pressure, but I just think he's a little bit cocky. So I like him, but no, not for me.
Keepers are mad though, aren't they? Remember Fabian Barthez? You couldn't get anyone more cocky than him.
Eccentric as hell, wasn't he?
I seen a tweet you shared a week or two ago, my keeper, and it was him running out, dribbling through the midfield.
He was nuts, mate. I loved Barthez. He was just crazy. He was a crazy keeper, but yeah, not for me. Great keeper, but no, I think we just need less of those characters and just more Casemiro type characters, because he really stepped up today. Him and Bruno Fernandes in there were excellent today and really set the tone for United. So he rolled back the years, Casemiro, with a fantastic performance. And like you said, he's come under a little bit of pressure over his performances quite recently. So I think that was just one in there. He just dropped that one in there, that little 9 out of 10, just to shut a few people up today. Which is
I love
great.
the way you say you roll back the years. That's what you say when a player's finished. I hope your cousin Skip is watching. You just heard it from the horse's mouth. He's rolled back the years. There you go. I predicted it. Jose, Football Freire, thoughts on Julian Alvarez, his biggest fan. That was some goal he scored today, wasn't it, Alvarez? Top bins. How do you like it?
Yeah.
And it ended up being the winner as well, didn't it?
Yeah. Craven Cottage, a hard place to go. We won there in the 90th minute. I think you drew there. They'll take points off people at home. So at this stage of the season as well, and like you said, Fulham, they've not really got a lot to play for, but at home in front of their own fans, they're always going to put on a show. It's a hard place to go. Tight pitch, Craven Cottage. So it was a great winner from Alvarez, and I think City will go on to win the league from here now.
Yeah, I think so. Not best keeper, but the keeper in best form, maybe.
Yeah,
the thing is, when you come back from winning the World Cup, not just from winning, when you come back from 5 weeks with Lionel Messi, your confidence will be sky high, won't it? But that's the problem. He might be looking at Aston Villa thinking that he deserves to be at a bigger club, but what kind of price are you putting on an informed keeper who's just won the World Cup, confidence sky high? That's probably what would stop a move, wouldn't it, Trav?
Yeah, but I think in in response to that is that Villa probably they've got a good project. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're not spending money. They're getting players like the likes of Coutinho. I know he isn't playing that much, but they've got a manager with caliber. Do you know what I mean? This manager is going to attract good players in the summer. They've got a good thing going on there. Obviously, like Matty Cash and players like that. They've got some good internationals down at Villa. So we're saying move on, but Villa are mixing it with those big boys now. I mean, you look at all the other sides apart from Man United and maybe Spurs, they've all got top keepers like Pope, Ramsdale, Edison, Allison. Obviously, you've got I think you've probably got the best keeper in the league along with Man City. I rate Edison highly as well and Ramsdale, those three keepers. But Nick Pope's up there as well. So I don't think I think Aston Villa are punching way above their weight. They're having a fantastic season. And I think they're only going to get stronger now they've got Unai Emery. I think they'll get some good players in the summer. So the future's bright. And I don't think Martinez will want to move because he's settled and they've got a settled back five. And I think he's happy.
Oh, I don't know about that. Martinez, he looks like he's very confident in himself.
Where can you see him going then? Apart from if he leaves
maybe
Villa,
abroad. Maybe abroad.
Maybe.
If there's a team like Juventus looking for a new keeper, I don't know if Szczesny's still in goals for Juventus. Bayern Munich, there's been question marks over Manuel Neuer. I know he's out for the season. They got Jan Sommer in.
Yeah, maybe
no chance Barca, Real Madrid. But yeah, if you look at the Premier League, there's not many places with Tottenham. But I'm sure if there's any Villa fans on, they'll say they're bigger than Tottenham. Certainly in terms of winning a European Cup, they are. And Tottenham
exactly. Look, same points, same games, them two. So it's exactly bang on. So
Steven Gerrard must look at this league table and feel like crying, mustn't he?
Yeah.
He must be doubting. He must be doubting his own abilities now when you look at the league table.
But Unai Emery had no complaints after the game. He said the better team won. We deserved to win the game, and maybe 1-0 flattered them a little bit. We should have won by a couple of goals, really. Like you said, we had 1-0 is never a safe scoreline, but like I said, it's about getting the 3 points, 6 games left. We need 3 wins to guarantee Champions League football. I can see us we're going to get them at some stage. Do you know what I mean? We've got Wolves, Bournemouth, Brighton left, Fulham and Chelsea, both at Old Trafford. So we'll get the job done. And like I said, it's all about preparing now for the cup final, really, once that's done.
The thing is, it might play on the Man United minds with this cup final. You know what it's like. A, you don't want to get injured. Or B, you might be pulling out of challenges because you don't want to get a red card. But fortunately for Man United, I think, like you say, the points are already in the bag. It would take something extraordinary for you to not make top 4 now. Same with Newcastle. When you look at the points now, we're just running out of games. And the form of Man United is good. Look, they've won 4 out of the last 5.
Yeah.
So have Newcastle, so have Liverpool. So it's all come too late. Look at Spurs and Arsenal's form. Winless in 4.
Yeah. Yeah,
worrying
definitely.
Times for the North London clubs.
I think once the Brighton game's out the way next Thursday, we've got Brighton away, which would be tough. They rested a load of boys yesterday against Wolves and they tanked them at home 6-0. So that'll be a testing game. I think once that game's out the way, whatever the result is, we could lose at Brighton. Do you know what I mean? They beat us once already at Old Trafford this year. I know we won the cup semi-final, but I think once that game's out the way, I think then we've got West Ham away. Then we've got the likes of Bournemouth and Wolves. I think over that period, I think top 4 will be wrapped up and then we can start thinking about the final.
I'm just looking at the fixtures for Man U now. I can't make it small, so can I?
Yeah, we've got Brighton. We've got Brighton next. Then West Ham, both on the road. And then we've got Wolves, Bournemouth away, Chelsea and Fulham at home. They're the remaining games. So
yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Brighton, West Ham, Wolves.
So that West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth period, and Chelsea at home. Like Chelsea on rotten form, Bournemouth are on really good form. Gary O'Neill, testament to them. That'll be tough down there, but I expect us to beat Wolves. I expect us to beat Chelsea at home, and I expect us to beat either one of West Ham or Bournemouth. So by that time, that's your 3 wins and it's done. Do you know what I mean? So no matter what happens at Brighton, I can't see us not winning 3 out of those next few games. You know what I mean? So
I
yeah,
tell you what, Travis. I've just looked at that and seen a little glimmer of hope. Let's imagine you get beat at Brighton, which could easily happen. Brighton
Right.
beat you at Old Trafford at the start of the season.
Yeah.
West Ham are absolutely fighting for their lives. They've got out of the relegation a little bit, but away to West Ham is no gimme. If you
Right.
drop points in them next two,
Yeah. Then
anything's
what?
possible. Anything's possible.
Oh, we're not doing this again, are we, Scotty? We're
Our
not.
season
We're not
starts
doing this
Saturday.
again. We're not doing this again, Scotty. Please, come on, brother. I'm a good friend of yours, mate. I'm trying to look after you, mate.
Who knows? Anything can happen. Travis,
It's been a
I
pleasure.
want you to sing us out. Oh, it was the number 20. Diogo Jota saved all of Liverpool's blushes. I'm absolutely delighted. 3 points for Liverpool, 3 points for Man U. I've been Scott. He's been Travis. We've been onto the ball. It's not a bad end to the weekend. I think you'll agree, Travis.
Yeah, it's been a good one. It's been a good one, mate. Really good.
There's midweek games as well, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got Brighton Thursday. Not sure who you got. I don't know.
There's Arsenal Chelsea Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we've got someone.
City
I think we've got
Leicester.
Fulham.
You got Fulham.
I think we've got Fulham.
No, City I've got. I don't know who City I've got actually. City are playing though.
Doesn't matter.
So, no.
I think City have got Brighton.
No, we've got Brighton Thursday. So.
Oh, during the week. Oh yeah. Right. It's been a pleasure. If you made it this far, don't forget to smash a like. And if you're new to the channel, hit a subscribe. It really helps me and Travis out and makes us feel amazing when we see there's another subscriber. So
It does.
You know what to do. Travis, have a great week, and I'll speak to you during the week. See you later, guys.
Thank you.
But Gerard! Oh, you beauty! What a head!